Welcome to another episode of XR Frontier. My name is Jürgen Moors, and today we're going to demystify the aspect of self-authoring trainings in extended reality and why they are so important. Now, if we look at the training landscape for a manufacturing company in itself, then we can divide in about 90% as on-the-job training and 10% are more general training. What we find is the general training are, for instance, safety trainings. How do you work at height, at certain heights? How do you work with a certain, in a chemical company when you have certain chemicals in there? These are general trainings that are most of the time repeated let's say every year, every 2 years, but these are the minority. And what we see these days is that extended reality, or especially virtual reality, is used to a very high extent to try to substitute the way that we do it now, whether it's an online training, whether it's a PowerPoint training, face-to-face training, to work with a virtual training, because there are certain advantages when you work with a virtual training, like you can do it on demand, you can check really well who has done his training or not, it is more immersive, people can take it more if they don't understand it. It is a different way of training yourself because you are inside a certain environment. You can actually see or feel or experience what potential danger can be. So this helps to definitely recollect and get more out of the same training. And you don't need trainers, for instance, so much. And you can use virtual reality very well for that. But that is specifically, like I said, most of the time for this niche of 10% of the trainings that you actually do in a manufacturing company. These are general trainings. The 90% in a manufacturing company are on-the-job trainings. And trainings that also often have the ability to change. Because if you bring, for instance, in a car manufacturing and you bring change to the line, or you have a new model, maybe 40, 50, sometimes 80% of your training, on-the-job training, remains the same. The other aspects you have to adjust. Same thing with a chemical company. Based on the role you have as an operator, the role you have as a technician, your training, your on-the-job training is different. It might evolve over time depending on how the assets that you have and maintain change. The role exactly that you have when you come from a basic technician and you grow up to a supervisor and so on. Also there, you have a lot of on-the-job training that changes over the course of time. And that is where self-authoring trainings are actually coming in. And what does it mean, self-authoring trainings? Meaning this is a training that you and I and any operator or any technician can actually make for his or her colleagues. In a way that you say this year we're getting 50 new recruits. Normally I would have to train them one by one. Now I can actually build a real on-the-job training in my extended reality environment. I can show them, I can explain them, and then the persons that are actually coming in can, whenever they choose on demand, start working with those trainings if they want in virtual reality. If they are not so comfortable in virtual reality, they can also do it in mixed reality. You can use the mixed reality goggles to go outside and actually on the place where you have to do the job, look, okay, what do I have to do? What is explained to me? And you can transfer it even into the augmented reality world where you can say okay, I'm going to do it for the first time, but it's great to have this experienced colleague as a guide, as a self-authored training in my augmented reality goggles. That is why self-authoring in itself is so important when we look at extended reality and why it would bring extended reality forward in the industry. It is one of the critical aspects because, like I said, the 10% of training, the 10% of the general trainings, most of the time just in virtual reality, they will not change the world. They don't make the huge impact or the huge business case that self-authoring trainings can actually do. Now, one good example is, and I will attach it into this video, or the link into this video to the video, is one of the company that I co-founded of Shenex Technologies, where we specifically do it for the process industry, the oil and gas, chemical industry, the steel industry, where we allow the companies and we allow the workers, where we allow everybody even to make trainings of their own based on a simple task. You can explain a simple task. And the great thing about a self-authoring training is you don't only necessarily have to use it for one or for the typical on-the-job training. It can be that a situation has changed, that there is a certain emergency and you need to train some of your coworkers, and you are the person who actually knows everything. But at that point in time, you can quickly record it in a virtual or mixed reality environment, even in augmented reality environment, and then somebody else can watch it and can work on it as well. So every simple task, something that even doesn't repeat, is something that you can bring in there. And that is the great thing with self-authoring. Self-authoring makes the training business case for extended reality in industry real. It makes it tangible, and it will make it also a positive business case, because you can do anything you want, whether it's a one-time job, which is an exception, or whether it's a typical on-the-job based training, or when it's a general training. Because the general trainings where they're built most of the time now in virtual reality, you can also bring them as self-authoring trainings, because it's so much greater to have it explained by your direct colleagues, even when it's a general training, in comparison to when it's told by somebody you don't know, it's brought to you by who knows. So self-authoring trainings basically are trainings, are task explanations, are procedural explanations or procedural trainings that you can build yourself. And that is a key in extended reality for extended reality in industry to make a true breakthrough.